You good?
Thank you.
Let's get started, please. I've asked Randy Luby to lead us in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the June 12, 2014 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3, alongside Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2, and Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1. Good morning.
Morning.
First item, please.
Unfinished business, number 1, consider approval of request to reclassify the Adult Field Services Division Manager to a Family Health Division Manager and to fill the position at an annual salary, including benefits, of $63,770, and to fill any subsequent positions that become vacant from filling this position, funded by grants, fees, and tax allocation.
Morning, Commissioners. Allison Alejos, Health Agency. I understand this item was tabled last week, and you had some questions, Commissioner Archer, regarding reclassification process, and I'd be happy to visit about that, or I see John Thummel's in the audience as well.
Yeah, I had asked for a deferral of this to today, and I just wanted to talk to you, which I did, and then I wanted to review with Mr. Thummel how we went about this to make sure that we had a systematic process in place to do these reclassifications. I'm satisfied that we do, and accordingly I'll make a motion to approve the reclassification as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Next item, please.
Consent agenda.
Questions or comments on the consent agenda?
I have none. Move approval.
I will second, but I do want to make just a note that there are times when the Board of County Commissioners does not have, in my opinion, probably the discretion to deny what an elected official does. And I would just note that for the record. And so I would second the motion to approve the consent agenda.
So noted. Motion made by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
New business A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Mr. Chairman, this morning we have vouchers that total $585,969.33. The highlights from those, we have capers and other employee contributions of $340,998.87, holding accounts with the state of Kansas of $56,398.71, and Parks and Recreation for a total of $100,522.49. But all of those come from the cost of doing business with Parks and Recreation, and I find them to be appropriate. I would move for their approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 2, there are no correction orders.
Next item, please.
Item B, Bond Council, number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2014-46, authorizing the execution and delivery of first supplements to certain 2007 lease purchase agreements and trust agreements in connection with the prepayment of certain outstanding 2007 certificates of participation, Series A and C.
Good morning, Bob Perry, Bond Counsel. Under County Resolution 2014-37, you gave the county staff, me, and the underwriter, Oppenheimer and Company, authority to take advantage of the market should it continue to refund the 2007 A and C certificates of participation, which mature 2016 and thereafter, should the savings be $450,000 or more. Savings being a reduction of interest cost over the remaining term of the leases compared to the 07 debt service versus the 14 debt service. We've done that. That was done last week. The chairman signed the bond purchase agreement last week under the resolution 2014-37, and the effective net interest reduction is basically $568,000. This authorizes the supplement to the leases and interest agreements to reflect the new lease payments.
Thank you. Any questions or comments about the resolution?
Just briefly, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner.
Mr. Perry, as our bond counsel, I think that it's important maybe we note that we are not actually receiving $568,976, but we're just reducing the payments, so our net gain is that much over the length of the bonds.
That's correct.
Okay. And just to note that so that if there's questions about that, we've suddenly come into a windfall and that we have, $500,000 that just suddenly came in. That's not really the truth. It's that
Well,
we've saved the money.
What we have done is restructured the 07 debt to reflect the lower interest rates from 14 and the shorter term on the new debt, which results in a lower interest cost over the remaining term of the leases.
And I think that's important. It isn't a lump sum. It is amounts that we're going to save in interest, cost, and debt service amortized over the life of the bonds.
That is correct. The
Okay.
2007 lease will end at 9/1/22. The 2007 C lease will now end at 9/1/23. Original terms are the same. We've just reduced our cost for those projects.
Okay. And we appreciate monitoring the market so that we can take advantage of these opportunities when they present themselves.
Well, it's a joint effort, frankly, between Betty's office, myself, and in this case, the underwriter Oppenheimer, who's issued the original debt.
Okay. Again, thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you,
Thank
Chairman.
you,
I
Bob.
hope to have the documents to you by Monday, as soon as I
Okay.
can get caught up.
Thank you, Bob. Next item.
Item C, Health Agency. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 236-2014 with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment for grant funding in an amount of $38,009 to be received by Northeast Corner Regionalization Initiative to enhance regional preparedness capabilities for addressing public health and biotourism events in Kansas.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ed Kalis with the Health Agency. Basically, we're here requesting that we continue to serve as the coordinating financial agent for this regional effort for public health emergency preparedness in our 8-county region. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Questions or comments about the contract?
If not, I would move for approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item D, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of request to purchase 2 replacement Kubota RTV X900 utility vehicles from the National Joint Purchasing Alliance at a cost of $30,661.95 to be paid through insurance proceeds, replacing the utility vehicles that were stolen from a locked maintenance facility at the Kansas Expo Center in April.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. As the clerk just read to you, this is a request to purchase 2 utility vehicles. They were insured. In April, we did have those stolen from our facility at the Kansas Expo Center. Staff has shopped around, found a place, the National Joint Purchasing Alliance, and able to replace those at a reduced rate from what the replacement cost on the insurance is. So there would be no additional funds coming from the county to replace those 2. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Questions or comments for Mr. Knight?
John, we do have measures in place now to make sure this doesn't happen again, or try to.
The best we can, yes. It was inside our storage shed at the Expo Center, and everything was locked up, so.
But it would also note that this did cost the county $10,000.
Correct, the $10,000 deductible, yes.
I have no other questions. I would move for the approval of the replacement of the 2 vehicles.
Second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 2, consider approval of request to fill a vacant park mechanic lead worker position at an annual salary, including benefits, of $44,967 and a soon-to-be vacant park maintenance worker position at an annual salary, including benefits, of $36,838 and any subsequent positions that become open as a result of filling these 2 positions.
Commissioners, we have two positions, one vacant, one that's going to be vacant. We've gotten the notice from that employee who's moving on to, one is in our Fleet Services Division, and one is in our Parks Maintenance Division. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions about the positions? I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer and seconded by Commissioner Bueller to approve the request. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 3, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-237-2014 with Boy Scout Troop Number 193 for parking of cars for the 2014 Spirit of Kansas event, July 4th, 2014, at Lake Shawnee at a cost of $1,200.
Commissioners, this is a request. Our staff, instead of staffing that with our permanent employees and our intermittent employees, have worked over the past couple of years with other nonprofit groups and other community groups to help park those cars. And this is a contract. The Boy Scout Troop's going to park cars on the 4th of July Spirit of Kansas event, and in exchange we provide them $1,200. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Questions or comments about the contract?
I would have none. I would move for approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook to approve the contract, and that was seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item.
Item E, Commission. Number 1, consider approval of Resolution Number 2014-47, appointing Dr. Charles Glenn to serve as the acting district coroner for the 3rd Judicial District.
We will get to
Sure.
public comment in just
Sure.
a moment. First of all, I want to make a motion to withdraw this resolution and introduce 2 contracts that the county council will go over now. I don't like this being squeezed like this and the public not having an opportunity to see these contracts in advance. But this is absolutely time critical, and that's why we're considering it this morning. So, Mr. Eckert.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rich Eckert, County Councilor. What you have in front of you are 2 contracts. One is an agreement for forensic pathologist services, and another one is a contract for coroner services. And this is traditionally how we do this. So although it's one person, it's 2 contracts, and this is normal for this area of the law. I'm going to go over these a little bit more detail than I usually go over contracts. The first one I'd like to go over is the independent contractor, the contract with Charles Glenn, and you can tell which one it is because it has his name in the heading. State law provides that we have to have a 4-year term for a district coroner, and that's what this contract is. If you go to paragraph 11, there's just a bit of a typo. This agreement shall commence on June 14th, 2014, and shall end on June 14th, 2018. I don't know how that January 10 squeaked in there, and the same typo was in the other contract, but we'll get that fixed. All this contract does is basically name Dr. Glenn as our deputy coroner, as our district coroner. You'll ask about how did we calculate a couple of things. Number 1, on page 2 is the salary requirement. What we did for both of these contracts is that we took the salary of Dr. Postman plus his benefits plus a couple of the expenses that he had written into his contract, and we simply divided that by 12. So in terms of how we calculated salary, that part of it is budget neutral. Now, a couple of new things that are in this contract. One, Section E, we're now going to provide a $4,000 budget for training for district coroner staff. Dr. Glenn will pay for his own training and his own certifications that he needs in his field, but for staff, this is new. Subsection F is new, and what we've agreed here is to update the technology of the office. How much is that going to cost, you ask? Roughly 4 new computers, 4 extreme high-quality digital cameras. Each one of those computers and cameras approximately $1,500 a piece. So I don't want you to be surprised by subsection F. Other than that, it's a normal contract. It's not any different than the ones that we've done before. We have strengthened the independent contractor status paragraph to make sure to everyone that that's the relationship here. And that's pretty much that contract. Now, moving to the agreement for forensic pathologist services. And, yes, sir.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
The date, you said January 10th, 2018 is incorrect. What should be the date?
That should be June 14th, 2018.
June 14th. Okay. The other thing I'm looking at is the termination of the agreement, which says this agreement may be terminated by either party by giving the other party 60 days written notice of the intent to terminate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think that's an important provision in this contract because you never know how things are going to work out.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's in both contracts.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Second agreement, forensic pathologist services. And just for people at home who might be wondering, what's the difference between a coroner and a forensic pathologist? And as a layperson myself, I'm going to try my best, but the person who actually conducts the autopsy, the one who has the scalpel and does all the things that some of us might not be able to see right before lunch, that's what a forensic pathologist does. So that's the key distinction between the two. Again, the salary was reached the same way as I explained previously. It's the remainder. The previous contract is for $45,000. This contract is for approximately $138,000. As an independent contractor, those will be divided by 12, and they will be paid monthly. So the February check of 28 days is the same as the August check of 31. Then that's, again, typical of how you treat independent contractors. Again, we've beefed up the paragraph on independent contractors to make sure that we all know what that status is. Other than that, I don't know that this contract is any different than the other ones that we have. So those are the key points to the contract. I would like to point out that Dr. Charles Glenn is with us today. Doctor, if you could stand so everybody could have a look at you.
Hi.
And if there's anything you would like to say, Doctor, now would be the appropriate time.
I want to say thank you for your confidence in me and the support you're extending to our office. If you have any questions today or down the road, don't hesitate to ask.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I defer to Commissioner Cook to ask the legal questions on these contracts, so go for it.
I think that I've reviewed them, I've had a chance to read through them. I don't have any questions about them, Commissioner Archer.
Okay.
I think that they do lay out very succinctly what it is that we are intending. This is a little bit different than what we've done in the past with our coroner, but I think that it meets our needs and we're able to provide service for the Shawnee County. I would note that we start on June the 14th as opposed to starting on June the 13th. So at least we're starting off on the right foot for anybody who's superstitious. But I think that it does cover everything that we need, and I'm very confident in Dr. Glenn and his abilities. He comes with a very high degree of respect in his field, and very glad that we were able to have this position filled by him.
Okay. I concur with those sentiments. Commissioner, do you
I have nothing to
have
add.
anything? Okay. Are there anyone that wants to speak regarding the two contracts?
While I, of course, didn't have an opportunity to review the contracts, I'd originally come to comment on the resolution that was originally on the agenda. One question I did have,
Did you identify yourself?
oh, I apologize. My name is Chris
Okay.
Berry. I'm with Frontier Forensics. We're a forensic pathology group in Kansas City. I appreciate the commission allowing me a chance to speak this morning. Mr. Eckert, as I understand, there's two contracts, and one of them is to appoint him as coroner, and the other is for the actual forensic autopsy services. And you had noted that in the contract there are provisions for 60-day removal as coroner. Am I understanding that right?
All questions have to be directed.
Oh, I apologize.
You can respond, Counselor.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I guess I wasn't familiar with provisions in the statutes that allowed for a coroner to be removed from office for reasons other than resignation or, I think, a death. So that, I guess, is the first time I've known that to be a provision that was under a contract with the county. One of the main points, I guess, that I'd come with today that I think still kind of applies, despite the new contracts that were put in place. District Attorney Taylor and Dr. Poyman in the past had both raised concerns that one of the problems of the office over the last few years was the issue of coverage, that while there's not a large volume of work, at least in comparison to what a pathologist usually does in terms of numbers of autopsies, the burden that they have is in terms of a breadth of coverage. Just like the police and the emergency services, they've got to be able to respond 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's a heavy burden to replace on one person. And that's why it was our hope that, although I realize the urgency to replace the coroner, given the vacancy in the office later in the week, we'd hope to have the opportunity to present an option with our company that has multiple pathologists, would allow for a greater breadth of coverage in cases of illness, unexpected absence, and the other types of things that are inevitable to happen, I think, just in life itself. And I guess I would hope that, maybe as the county looks forward and maybe revisits this in the future, that might be something that they would consider. And we would really enjoy the opportunity to discuss that with you if you revisit the topic in the future.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
I'm Sharon Mandel.
Morning.
I'm also with Frontier Forensics. Some of you may know me in this room, some of you may not. As I look around, the people in this room, I'm probably the only one here that really understands what it takes to work in the coroner's office at Shawnee County. I did so for 15 years. I was the chief medical investigator and the administrator. I do support what Mr. Berry said. It is very time-consuming. It can stress you out from morning to night. And I do really encourage that you do, as you look forward, come up with a way to offer some support for the coroner and the coroner staff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could add one thing, or two things actually. First of all, Sharon Mandel is absolutely one of my favorite county employees who ever worked here, and it is a loss that we no longer have her. And I do want to say that because she needs the due that she deserves over the 15 years she gave us. And the other thing is that I don't actually disagree with anything Mr. Berry said. The forensic pathologist contract is a one-year contract, unlike the other one. So tryouts, that case could be made. Dr. Glenn has some learning to do. We'll always have learning to do. So this year, we're going to learn a lot about what was just discussed.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner?
I think that, Commissioner Archer, those are very good comments that the Frontier Forensic staff have brought to the attention of the commission. They are actually ones that I've discussed with Dr. Glenn prior to the signing of the contract or the presentation of the contract, some of his concerns. And I think that as we look forward on the budget, as Dr. Glenn becomes acclimated into the office, if we do need to look at having backup support for vacation, for off times, that we look at what other options we may have available. And so,
Good, thank you, Commissioner. Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner. And I agree with you, Commissioner Archer. I don't normally like to do business like this when we pull
Okay.
one item and we
Yep.
add others and the public hasn't had the opportunity. It's less than ideal, but Rich, I'm going to ask you the question, is this in the best interest of the county to do this at this time?
It's my belief that that is true, or I wouldn't be up here.
Okay.
And that's,
That's a neat way Commissioner Bueller making a point that if this fails, it fails on me.
Well, you represent
Yes.
this board, and I just want to hear it from you. Okay, thank you.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the two contracts, and I have done my homework on Dr. Glenn, and the word I hear is that not only is he very technically proficient, but he's also a skilled leader in working with other people. And I think that's important, being a leader in Shawnee County. So accordingly, I'll make a motion to approve the two contracts as presented.
second.
Commissioner, I have a question, just a point of order. We didn't technically get a second to pull that item. There was no objection, but, and we didn't technically add, I don't believe, these two items. I'll check with the clerk, but just want to make sure we do everything correct. So,
Thank you, Rich, that caught that. Motion made by Commissioner Archer and seconded by Commissioner Cook to withdraw the resolution. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. And now I will make a motion to approve the contracts as presented this morning. And we have a second on that.
I'll second again.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve the contract, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Welcome aboard, Doctor. Glad to have you. Next item, please.
Administrative communications?
Any administrative communications this morning?
man, I have a lot.
You do?
I
Okay.
do. Well,
Take it,
actually,
Commissioner.
congratulations, first of all, to Winnie Kingman. She turns 90 years old. Former county commissioner. She turns 90 years old tomorrow, so happy birthday to Winnie. And then congratulations to Dick and Dottie Hanger, who are celebrating their 65th wedding anniversary. And Dick Hanger was also a former county commissioner, so congratulations to them. Also, just yesterday was a busy day. We had the Conservation District had their annual tour on conservation projects. We went out to Lake Shawnee and saw a couple projects. It's a very good tour. There was also the conversation on poverty at Washburn University, which was very interesting. A lot of voices that I haven't heard before. A lot of brave people got up and spoke, and so it was very, very good. And then also this morning was in Rossville to welcome the first 3 bikers for Bike Across Kansas. It's going across northern Shawnee County this morning, and so for those of you on Highway 24, be careful. Yeah, so anyway, and I think that's it.
Commissioner?
Commissioner Archer, I had the opportunity yesterday afternoon to welcome to Topeka and Shawnee County the Kansas State High School Rodeo Association. They will be holding their event this weekend in the Domer Arena in the Kansas Expo Center. This is 300-plus youth from across the state of Kansas that are competing in events, and they are coming to our great state and our great county and city. Now, the important thing to note is that Shawnee County hosted the Kansas State High School Association for a number of years. Hutchinson was able to lure them away for a couple of years, and then we were able to bring them back. This is not an event that really is a moneymaker for the Expo Center. This is, however, a benefit to Shawnee County and the city of Topeka in that we have hotels that are filled, people that are eating at our restaurants, people that are shopping in our shops. And so sometimes when we look at the Expo Center, we can't just look at the events that bring in big acts. We have to look at the events that bring in a lot of people, and this is one of them, and the benefit of the Expo Center for Shawnee County. But if you see people around town that are wearing numbers on their backs, welcome them to Topeka and welcome them to Shawnee County.
Good. Thank you,
They
Commissioner.
might be bikers or.
We don't know. Real quick, Tuesday, I participated in a commercial with John Dykus that will be on WIBW shortly, and I wanted to apologize to the viewing public up front. But what's important is that the Spirit of Kansas is coming back to Lake Shawnee on the 4th of July. And it gives us an opportunity to showcase one of the finest assets that we've got in Shawnee County. And the other part in my line, if I remember it correctly, is that if you're going to attend the fireworks, there's going to be free bus transportation available from White Lakes beginning at 6 p.m. So,
Remember
you've
the
done that
script.
before.
Yeah, I remember the script, yeah.
Okay, so if that's all, next item, please.
Executive session?
There is a need for an executive session. We need to talk about not essential, not elected personnel, attorney-client, employee negotiations, and then finally, perhaps discussion of real property, and I'll make a motion. We go into executive session to discuss those items at this point not to exceed 20 minutes. So that's a motion.
Second.
Motion made to go into executive session for a period not more than 20 minutes. No action is anticipated. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. We are in executive session.
See you in 40. Did you want me to?
giving a speech at the